Photographer Ben Winkler and I go undercover and discover what lies beneath as we celebrate the evolved woman on today's Super Boomer Lifestyle Show. The Super Boomer Lifestyle Show will enhance your lifestyle, health, empowerment, and more. Hello, everyone. Caren Glasser here, and welcome to the show. This is going to be an amazing show today. It's season 4, the premiere episode. So here we go. We're going to get ready to go live. If you're here on replay, make sure you comment down below because we will make sure to comment right back. And if you have a question, if you have something that you want to share, we want to hear about it. If you're here live, even better, make sure to comment below. And we'll put your comments right up on the screen. I'm trying to spotlight on you. All right, my guest today is photographer Ben Winkler. His Faces of Silver, the world tour is about going gray, silver, and white on purpose. Imagine that, on purpose, along with whatever stage of life that you're in. I'm really excited to welcome to the show today as we discover what lies beneath and celebrate the evolved woman. So, Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm delighted that you're here. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, but I like to start my show with actually a question, and that is, what defines a super boomer? So I'm going to actually go first, and then I'm going to throw it over to you. I say that super boomers are not defined by their age. They're defined by how they show up in life. Get rid of that word age. Ben, how do you define a super boomer?
Well, I have an issue with this age thing to begin with. I mean, age is a natural thing. It's always been around. It's never been that popular and talked about as it is today.
Right.
What is it today that with all technology and this lifestyle and this society that we have this gift of not giving a flying hoot anymore. You know, I have to tone it down. I have to tone it down a bit. But it's really about your bucket lists. It's about like, what did you always want to do? Finally, the kids are out of the house. You're empty nesters. The kids are off to college, out of college. You get the grandkids whenever you want or for babysitting days. And the rest of the time, what do you want to do with your so-called second act? And that's really what I bring it down to. Like, do the things that when you're on your deathbed in your last few minutes, when you say, I wish I would have done X, Y, Z, do all that today.
Exactly. And I call it your next. So I'm always talking about, what am I going to do next? So if you're listening right now, you're on live, tell us how you define a super boomer. Put it on into the comments, and you never know, I might pop it right up on the screen. So we're going to jump right in. Today we're celebrating the evolved woman. And you talk a lot about your mission is to celebrate the mature, evolved woman when all of society is focused on the never-ending youth. And you know, it was funny when I read this, when you sent this to me, the first thing that I said was, oh, mature. I don't know if I'm actually mature. I might be older, but I'm not sure I'm mature. So let's talk a little bit about that. What do you mean by that when you talk about the mature woman? Is it's you just said it's not age. So how would you define the mature woman?
I think it is when we first sit down and say, you know what? I'm looking back at my life. What have I accomplished? The whole family aspect, my career, and so on as a woman. And first now I have the ability to look at it differently, to take a step back and not be in that 24/7 with kids and job and husband and everything anymore. Now you can sit back and say, okay, what do I want to do? What is the definition of who I am? You know, that's what it really comes down to, I think.
I so totally resonate with what you're saying. You know, your past few years, you've been focusing on photo projects that actually seek to introduce beauty and sex appeal into the conversation around women over 50. And one of the projects that you have worked on that was actually brought me to you, and that it actually brought you to me. And I saw your photos. I've seen you. I've been following you. Actually, I think I've been stalking you on Instagram. And I've been watching these photographs that you have put up. And it's called The Faces of Silver. Let's talk about that. Where did that come from? It's obviously a passion of yours. And I'm going to show some images as you're talking about it.
Okay, I have to go way back to start for that. I think in general, I've always been shooting midlife and up, women midlife and up. This is just the biggest response. This is just what responds to my work. We did another test the other day between men and women, silverhead men, silverhead women. It's a minute percentile, whatever.
Percentage.
Something like that. Let's call it percentage. Out of what the response is for women. So if I go all the way back, it used to be women midlife and up, and then at some point somebody said, "Well, you're photographing all these gray women," and it was only a handful of them, and I didn't really notice it. I didn't really see the difference, and so I sat back. I was thinking about it. I found all these. Well, back then there weren't that many silver groups or gray groups. There was Gray is the New Blonde, and all those who do really great work. I mean. They are excellent as a support system. And then I said, you know what, if I go all the way back, I must have been 13, 14 or something. And my mother had always had a big coffee shop in Austria, like the Viennese type with mahogany and marble, and people sit there and just watch everybody. It's a pastime. It's a social thing. And this one time I'm standing there, and there are 3 guys sitting at the bar. And my mother's behind the bar, and she walks into the kitchen. My mother, as long as I remember, has always been gray. Only once she turned, I don't know, 40 or 35, maybe 40 or something, she started coloring it into blonde. So it was in reverse. So these guys are sitting there. My mother walks into the kitchen, and one of these guys says, "Well, if she's gray up here, what do you think she's down there?" And I'm sitting there speechless, my hormones, you want to defend the honor of your mother and whatever, and nothing ever happened. But I just thought at that point, how do we have the audacity to judge, to tell other people what they should look like, how they have to behave, how they have to dress, at this stage in life? What does that mean?
Oh my gosh.
There's a beginning and end or different sections. Now you've turned 35. Do you think I still can wear a bikini? I go what?
Hell yeah.
Who came up with that?
Well, you know what? And if you were to go Google right now, what to wear after 40 or after 50, there's going to be literally thousands of articles that are going to tell us what we should and what we shouldn't do. We were talking about my story right before we went live, and the fact that my mother also was white for as long as I remember. When she turned 30, she went white. And when I turned 30, I started turning white. And I said, not doing that, because we didn't have a Ben Winkler then. We didn't have somebody in the field telling us it's okay. And in fact, I started coloring my hair. And anyone that knows me, people that have been watching the show for several years now, you saw my hair grow out. Originally, the show was called The Little White Lie. And I sat here week after week saying, okay, it's time for the reveal. Guys, remember that? I put my head down. And now here I am, all silver and gray. And what I told Ben was, if I had to do it all over again, I would have done it so much earlier. Do you get that from other women?
I get that more and more. I mean, a few years ago, just 2-3 years ago, it was a lot different. It was a lot harder. And now it's not that it has gone mainstream, but people accept it more because of these groups that are around on social media. Social media is really a great help. I always say silver is I call it silver because people call it gray. I mean, there are how many different shades of gray-haired women have you seen? I mean, there's anything from platinum to steel to so many different shades, and it's just another color. And oftentimes when I look at people's pages when they post before and after shots, I go, before you were just blending in. I would not have noticed you. Of course, I'm biased because I work with it and I enjoy it.
Exactly.
And now you're sticking out. Your features, your facial features, your eyes, everything gets highlighted even more. Your bone structure and everything. At least I'm biased, but I enjoy bringing that out. I mean, really, what is beauty? Beauty is individuality.
It is. It absolutely is. So the biggest challenge I had, Ben, is as I was going gray, was what to do with it, because it was turning yellow. It was what a mess. And those are the things that you don't even understand or even know about until you start doing this. So one of the things that people would say, well, how are you making your hair turn beautifully silver without the yellow and without the brown? So one of the products that I use, guys, you can see it up on the screen. I use something called Blonda. It's purple, guys. It's actually purple shampoo. It smells like blueberries and grapes, and you put it on your hair. And I actually have a picture of me standing there with my hair. It looks like a big, huge mask, or not a mask, a hat of purple. And I'm not sure, maybe you're the artist. I don't know what purple does with silver to kind of tone it down. Is that an art thing?
In general, it just gives it a more bluish hue, and you take the yellow out. But my question is, if we have all those photographs up here and you just described this so perfectly, why don't we see a shot of that?
So I'm going to
you with the purple mask.
With the purple mask, I should have. You know what? I'm going to. You got me there. I actually am going to show that, not today, but I will show it. I think that the person that I have on the screen here is actually Yasmina. Is that correct? Can you see her here?
Yes, correct.
And Yasmina, the reason why I'm putting her up here, particularly, she's one of the beautiful models, but she's also a photographer herself. And she is the one who took your picture, the one that I've been using in all of the promotions. And I wanted to give her a shout out for that reason, because all of us who are in this creative field, we sometimes don't get our name shouted out and somebody borrows our work. And I don't want to be that person. And that is why I'm giving her a shout out right now, because she's phenomenal in the picture she did for you, but she's phenomenal herself. She herself is absolutely gorgeous. I want to run through some of these. I know that you can see them. Do you have any stories on any of these that you want to share?
They're all different people here. Of what you probably see from the get-go is that I have a love for black and white. I'm old school. I come out of the black room days, the dark room days, and I think black and white just features the subject more, or highlights what we really want to show. With these, most of them I wanted to portray, especially the black and white ones, a moody, a different viewpoint than the regular frontal on or the regular headshot type of thing. Create some mood, create some drama, show some of their features, like this one that you have up right now. Amazing lady from New York. What struck me when I saw it was her tattoo on her wrist. That coffee cup. I want to see that. I want to see your bangle. I want to see your coffee cup, and I want to see your bone structure. She's got this amazing bone structure.
Stunning.
And that's what we came up with. Each and every one has something different, and I'm trying to find that and highlight that.
So how do people find you? I mean, if somebody like me or someone else who's growing their hair out and now they have silver hair and they are empowered, and because we talked about this, I think it's actually the reverse. Those of us who have done this and have seen what's happened, we're empowered. We show up in a way that says, don't mess with me. Don't tell me what to do. I like the way I look. So when people approach you and say, I would like to hire you and I want to do a photo shoot, do they get shy? I mean, what happens? How do they get to you, and how does that session actually go?
So in general, I would say out of all the women I photograph, about 5% are models. The rest, 95%, are regular, everyday housewives, business women, whatever, mothers. When they show up, they're all terrified. 99% of them are terrified. If they are not, then like, okay, we'll see. And within the first 20 minutes or so, it's just, the whole thing turns around. I always tell them, well, the first 20 shots, the first 50 shots is just, okay, I'm testing my lighting. I'm seeing what are your features? What are your better sides? What is the better side, and so on. And within 20 shots, 20 minutes, something like that, they are down to as relaxed as could be. And we're just having a blast for the rest of the session.
I love that. Those of you who are watching live right now and even on replay, if you have silver hair, white hair, gray hair, whatever you want to call it, let us know and tell us what it has been like to show up in the world with your hair the way it is and showing up powerfully. I mean, I watched one of the a pro-age woman, I think her name is Mary, and she's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. She has these amazing photographs out there of women who are like say of a certain age, but it's us, the empowered super boomers. And these women are phenomenal. And I think that there is a transition right now in our media. There are more and more of us. Would you agree that are coming out and saying, look at me?
I think it's not just, well, in this particular case, there's more of the silver, but in general, overall, there's more of this ageism movement or whatever, anti-aging, whatever. Everybody calls it something else. Right. Don't get me started on anti-aging, because what the heck is that?
What does that mean? What's the alternative?
And then you're taking creams, facial creams, and hair shampoos and whatever, and you put it on a 20-year-old and tell me how a gray-haired lady should look, what she should look like, and what she should use. How does that make sense?
Ridiculous.
Now I lost my thread. Where was I?
You were talking about silver-haired ladies. We're showing up now. There's more of us who are doing this. And
yes, so ageism. It's that age in particular. I think if we go 20 years back, 50 years back, you would rather have been boxed in within your community, your family, your grander family around you, and you would have to follow, okay, what did your mother and your grandmother and so on do? Whereas today we have all these impacts from the outside world, like support groups, different. There are so many groups around who basically propose a different way of looking at your second act, if you will. Like, how do you define it? Are we redefining us? Who are you actually? Because you're not anymore who you used to be when you set out at 25 with small kids, you know? So now is the first time that you have this grand opportunity, this new blank canvas. What do you want to do with it? Define it.
Dina just said, I'm 10 months into my hair transition journey and feel empowered and free. Go, Dina. That's awesome.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. And that's really what it's about. And I think more and more we see this. And one of the things that you say, you showcase women at this age that still have it. They're radiant, they're sensual, they're sexy, and you're celebrating the female form. I know that as I get older, you know, I look in the mirror sometimes and I'll say, I don't look the way I used to look. And it used to be painful. It used to be painful to look at myself and say, oh, you know, and I'm fortunate. I don't have a lot of wrinkles. I'm very fortunate. But even that one wrinkle or the two wrinkle or the you know, I'm sagging somewhere or whatever it is, we start to get very, very critical, right? About who and what we look like. We need people like you, Ben, and the people that are in the industry that are telling us, look at yourself with love. You are beautiful, right?
I think our first problem is the way we have been raised and the last 50 years of media with all these products. We have been told what we should look like, what the covers on Vanity Fair or whatever magazine has been throughout the ages. This is the ideal.
Right.
You have to be 20 pounds heavy or 20 pounds light because you're not allowed to eat. You have to have that haircut. You have to wear this. You can't wear a bikini after age 35, all that stuff. What really does us in every time is comparison. We are not unique anymore. We are not celebrating. We believe that beauty is in the outside to begin with because of the media, because of all that, because of the movies. When I see this more and more now with some call it metaphysics, the others call them new age, whatever, with all these different ways of thinking about life and what else is out there, you know, like it's not just that old school, good old boy structured thing. We want to rebel against things. We want to question things. It's about time then that we question both the system, the attitudes, society's viewpoints, society's norms. Who makes the norms? It's us who makes the norms. Plus, baby boomers or the second act demographic, we are the biggest spending power in the country. Yes, yet we don't even speak up when it comes to stuff like L'Oreal recently doing giving out an ad where they said, we declared 2019 the year of the gray hair color. And then they took a 20-year-old, artificially colored hair gray and put it out there. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you?
That is so ridiculous. You and I talked about Cindy Joseph, may she rest in peace. She epitomizes, for me, she epitomizes what this whole movement is about. She was pretty much at the forefront. Was a makeup artist. She you know, did the makeup of some of the most beautiful models in the world. And when she turned 48 and decided, I'm not going to pretend that I'm something else, I did the same thing she did. She let her hair go white. And wouldn't you know it, she's walking down the street in New York and she gets picked up by one of the top agents and ends up modeling for Dolce & Gabbana and then became one of the top silver-haired models. And I think she set the stage. You talked about cosmetics. You talked about the creams and the lotions. That was her whole thing. Boom Cosmetics. You don't need to put all that crap on your face. Let the real you, you know, shine through.
What is the real you? You know, we think we are defined by everybody else. Again, I said this before. Beauty is not on the outside. Look back at our grandmothers.
Yes.
We as kids did not look at them, compare them, especially back in the day when it was not about 20 million creams and what you should look like with social media today and all the influencers, the millennial influencers who know it all, like, and who are all the new Insta models. And if Instagram is gone tomorrow, what are you? Don't get me started with this stuff. If you don't have anything to contribute that is of substance, take yourself out of the equation. You're not that important. Contribute something. It's not that how many followers you have and how good of an influencer you are. Like when you are 20 years old and you call yourself a life coach, I'm sort of questioning that.
Yeah, and I would not be first in line to go, get those services for sure. Let's just go. I want to ask you: do you have a tip that you'd like to share with all of our viewers? And I know you talk about there's only one you, so you want to expand on that. Let's let everyone. And before I do that, Dina wants you to know that she's going to be seeing you in July in North Carolina. She's excited to work with you. So she's one of your faces, right? She's going to be one of your models.
Even more. Apparently, she will. Yes, I heard about it. I heard about that shoot that is supposed to take place in, when is that? July?
July in North Carolina. There you go. There you go.
I'm all over the place. This year is just a little crazy. Who are you? What's your personality? Why don't you bring that out? Like our grandmothers, as I just touched on. When we were little kids, we looked at them and we were in awe of what maybe not back then we thought what a wise woman she is. Maybe she was not all that wise that she would call herself as, or her peers or whatever. But for us, she was that. Now it's this first time that we in history where we can sit back and say, who am I? I don't have to follow the norm. I don't have to dress like everybody else. Like, what is fashion? Everybody thinks fashion and beauty is I have to do what the Kardashians are doing.
Oh, God forbid.
Do your own thing, and don't go crazy. Like the next thing that I just don't understand is when they have nothing to contribute anymore. Now they are dressing up boys. They look like girls with the haircuts and everything on the catwalks, and the girls like boys. I go, and your point is what exactly?
Exactly.
You don't even know anymore what to put on, and what are we teaching our kids? Individuality. What's bring your personality out. There's only one of you. There's only one of each and every one of us, and don't be scared that you don't have enough to contribute or that you're not enough. You've got a whole story at this stage in life.
Right.
Live that story and own it.
Well, and I've also heard that, that it's true that we all think that everybody else is looking at us. And so we do things based upon, they must be thinking this or this or this, rather than what you are saying, it comes from within. And the reality is really nobody's looking at you. They're busy wondering what people are saying about them, right? So what you're saying is actually the smart way to do this, actually, is to not worry about what other people say, go within and show up as who you believe you are, and express your abilities and what you contribute to society.
I mean, there is so many when it comes to fashion or to individuality. Let's start with dressing. Let's start with colors. What are your colors that you enjoy? Right. Don't go like, okay, there's a lot of people out there right now who are going to hate me, but I'm just going to tell you what I think. That's why I'm here. Wear what you want to wear. And if this is pink or screaming blue or whatever, and somebody says you cannot combine this with that, you know what? At this stage in life, watch me.
Those are my words, Ben. I say, watch me. And Joey Garrity, who's on the show right now, and she talks a lot about that. She talks about showing up in your own visibility. Watch me. Show up so that the spotlight is on you, and express yourself and do that and be there and be that person. I am sure people are wondering right now how they might be able to get on your calendar. Possibly. You were telling me that you're doing a lot of traveling. You're going to be down in San Diego, which I'm excited about because that's where I am. And then you're going to apparently you're going to North Carolina. You're going to be all over the place. So first of all, I'm going to put some of your contact information up, but I didn't put an email or anything like that. If they go to your website, which happens to be this,
the website is always the easiest. There's a link there to contact us, and we take it from there. We get back to you from there.
I think this has got to be one of the most
the easiest way, this way, it's just my name. It's benwinkler.com. If you remember that, you're good to go.
And it's actually on the screen right now, guys, benwinkler.com. If you want to follow Ben on Instagram, which I suggest you do because he puts a lot of amazing images up there. You want to go to Ben_Winkler_photography. And if you want to go to Twitter and follow him over there, it's Ben Winkler Photo. And then finally, if you go over to Facebook, he has a page there as well. It's Ben Winkler Photography Inc. period. And there's a bunch of other numbers, but I actually tested this, Ben. If they put that into the search, your page will show up.
If you just put my name into it, it shows up too.
There you go. You know what? Just put Ben in, and he'll be there.
And I want to do a quick shout out here. It might look like a one-man operation, but I've got people helping me with my social media. This is a great shout out for all the ones that are helping me. I couldn't do this by myself. For Faces of Silver, for all my social media, for everybody does something, and it's a whole team effort. And I just want to feature that here. So,
oh my gosh, Ben, if it was possible, I like you even more because of what you just did. You're a we. We talk about being a we. This is about all of us being together. You shouted out somebody else. You shot the spotlight on them, visibility, and you are actually showing people how they really should show up. And that is to put the spotlight on others, because when you do that, the spotlight shines right back on you. I have a question for you. Any last minute thoughts, anything that you want to make sure that people walk away from this show, whether on live or on replay, where they say, number one, that guy is amazing. I need to contact him. I want to get involved with him. And number two, this is going to help me show up better in life because of these things that I have learned on the show today. Is there anything that you want to add?
Well, the first thing is I don't want people to mistake that I'm only photographing silver, only gray hair. We do women midlife and up, and midlife could be anything from 40, 45, 50. Everybody. I just don't want to go down to 20 or to school for photography. There's no substance. There's nothing to contribute, nothing to appreciate for me.
You have another project, Scars.
Oh. Do I ever? I always have another.
Let's talk about Scars. So you know what? We've got a little bit of time. Let's do this. I don't want to get off of the show until we really have really kind of explored everything about Ben Winkler. Tell us a little bit about Scars. I just love the name of that, by the way.
Scars came about, again, it's the same demographic again. And my work is always about beauty, midlife and up. So it's not only the outside that we have, it's the scars that we have, and all the issues and psychological issues and the stories that come with them, the stories of triumph, the stories of suffering, and so on. I want to make this a project where it's not going to be the same to the same extent of the same scope as Faces of Silver. Faces of Silver took me for 2 years around the world. I was on several continents. I was like all over the place. I want to narrow it down, want to bring one maybe for each category. It could be anything from C-sections to hip replacements to breast cancer, to thyroid. There are the most amazing scars. Most amazing, I don't want to call them weird. Some people call them weird because we think scars are not normal. Yeah, if we look at them as a piece of you, as part of you, and as a celebration that you're still around, that you made it, then they're a beautiful thing.
Yes, they
are.
The
way we have this set up now is we are painting, our makeup artist paints the scars in gold cover. Along that theme of the Japanese art form kintsugi, where you take a vessel, like you drop this and you break it, and then you fuse it back together with gold, and you make it something more, something new, something of value. It doesn't decrease in value, and that's what I want to show with that project.
Wow, that's amazing. Barry Selby says that's the path. Be authentic and stand in your truth. And actually, thank you, Barry. Barry and I go way back. Carol actually put up your email. She's apparently one of your brand ambassadors for Faces of Silver.
She is doing a lot of my work for Faces of Silver. She's been instrumental over the years. Thank you, Carol.
Well, shout out for Carol. That is awesome. Ben, I want to thank you for taking time, because clearly you're busy. You're all over the place. I want to thank you for taking time to be on the show today, and actually on the premiere show of season 4. I think this is a great way to start out the new season. I totally appreciate who you are and what you are doing in the world, and I really hope that we stay in touch. I'm actually considering I need to connect with you and maybe do a photo shoot.
If you can find me.
If I can find you. Well, you're going to be in San Diego. I might just have to hunt you down.
Yes, this weekend.
Sounds great. I'm going to drop you into the green room. We're going to do our super boomer moment, and we're going to say goodbye to everyone in just a minute. You're going to go down into the lobby. So bye-bye.
Thank you.
So is he amazing? Or what? He's amazing. I was, when I started watching him on Instagram and seeing the photos that were there and seeing the reactions from the women that he's photographed, my first thought was, I want to be one of those women. My second thought was, I want to bring him on the show because you really epitomize everything that super boomers are all about. So as I like to do on a super boomer moment, I like to talk about something that stuck out in this conversation that I will take back with me. And one of the things that you talked about was from the inside, that it's about the inside, it's not the outside. And that really struck home with me, is that if we show up, when we show up, not if, when we show up with our inside beauty showing, we can't help but be beautiful, all completely beautiful. I want to thank you for sharing that with us, because I think it's important. I think it's important for all of us to show up, and to show up as who we are, authentically. I'm having trouble talking. Authentically, and as who you really are in your truth, as Barry said. So thank you for being on the show today. And I want to thank the viewers. You guys have a choice. You have a choice as to how you spend your time. And you chose to spend it with Ben and I today. And I want to thank you for that, because I know that we're all very, very busy. So whether you're watching this live, if you're watching this on replay, I want to thank you for taking time to share your time with us. So go out and give somebody an awesome day. And we're going to see you next week on the next episode of the Super Boomer Lifestyle Show. Goodbye, everyone.